Streaming now.
Good afternoon. It's 4 o'clock today. And I've got the board minutes for September 17th.
Make a motion to approve the board minutes for the September 17th.
Second.
Is that right? Okay, that's right.
I can't talk right, apparently.
Oh, I'm not thinking. Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments to make?
No, good.
Would y'all like to raise your hand?
I need a
Those that
second.
approve?
We need a second.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't get the
it.
second?
Okay.
oh yeah.
Okay, and then you all voted yes, and it's unanimous. Okay, number 2, payment of claims.
I'll make the motion to pay the claims.
Second?
Questions, comments? Okay. Payment of claims as they were presented by their check numbers. All those in favor of paying those, that's unanimous. The next regular meeting will be held on Wednesday, October the 15th, 2025 at 4 p.m. in this room. Public comment. Do we have any public to come?
No public?
None.
Okay. Old business. Do we have any old business?
No, you have yours.
New business. Okay. Attachment 6A. Approve the Peru Municipal Sewage Works SRF disbursement request number 54 to Hazen and Sawyer.
I'll make the motion that we accept attachment 6A.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Vote please. Unanimous. B, 6B. Approve Peru Municipal Sewage Works SRF disbursement request number 55 to Lockmuller Group.
I make a motion to approve request 55 to Lockmuller.
Second motion?
Questions, comments? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. 6C. That would be our long-term control plan update. Are you ready?
Thank you. So we have the acceptance offer has been signed and notarized for the Hahn property at 262.5. So that is also, you want to see it? Yep.
Yes.
They did it per property there. So we are moving forward, and Dustin is moving forward with getting closing dates, and so we can get that resolved completely. So that's awesome. We don't have to spend a bunch of extra money and a bunch of extra time trying to get that property. So we appreciate Mr. Hahn and the fact that he could come to an agreement with us. I think that was a pretty fair agreement, and
Do you want to look at that?
appreciate the board allowing us to do that. So that's one check mark, one part of that critical path that's out of the way finally. So I'm really happy about that. So what that does is that frees time up in a way. We had planned on closing fourth quarter, April or May of next year. That gives us the ability to move that back a little bit to, well, actually we could close in October if we wanted to, if they could get everything, all of the engineering and everything done. That's not going to happen. So we met with, Jamin and I met with Bowen, and Jamin and I met with Lockmuller and Baker Tilly today. We met with Bowen last week, and we talked with Bowen about where we're at on the construction timeline, and costs of construction. And they're ready to hit the ground going as soon as we get the engineering completely done. Lockmuir gets the engineering completely done. So really that April, May closing date, it works for them, but it's not ideal for them because they're going to lose months of construction. Really, why should we push it off any further than we have to? Lockmuir has agreed that they can get it done by third quarter financing with the SRF, which for them in their fiscal year would be February-ish. So our plan is, our goal is, and we've set that expectation today and last week to close in February, so that our construction company, Bowen, can get on the ground and just get moving right away on that and not lose any time, because we know it's a 2-year project at least, so I need to get moving forward with that. As far as construction costs go, we talked to Bowen a little bit. We feel like we're going to be in the right area of what that original estimate was. We don't know whether it's going to be a little high or a little low. It's not going to be a little low, but we don't know if it's going to be a little high. But again, as we talked about in a previous meeting, we've got that extra $6 million from the state as a grant. We're going to be able to use some of that if there is a little bit of an overage, and the interest rate, they knocked off a quarter, I think, last month or earlier into this month. They're looking at maybe one more this year and maybe one more next year, but who knows? No one has a crystal ball to say the economy is going to be doing great then where they can lower the rate. But a quarter's good. A quarter is still money off on the back end as far as interest goes. As far as our payment goes, over a 35-year financing, I mean, that's a lot of money and a lot of interest, as we talked about before. So we feel like things are starting to come together a little bit, maybe go our way a little bit. I don't want to get my hopes up too big. I'm naturally a pessimist, so anything can happen between now and then. But we feel like we're really moving in the right direction here, and like I said, our goal is February. Anything else you can think of on the long-term side? And that, to me, that was the most important thing.
The permits, we've got the water permits for the water mains that are getting moved, and there's been some back and forth, but we're pretty close on the wastewater permits too. So from IDEM, permits shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. Any questions on that? And then when we
Here
get
to me.
Dustin, we'll have to get final approval on the sale, correct, for the board on the Hahn property?
Well, they'll need to approve payment of the check, yeah.
Gotcha.
But they've given approval to purchase that. I guess it wouldn't hurt to accept the final offer of $262.5. I mean, even the oral motion would be fine though. But I know you gave the authority last week to accept that.
Yeah, so we can probably do that at that meeting that they
Yeah.
approve the
Yeah.
payment. Okay, that works. And then of course there'll be some closing costs in there, just so you know. It's not, we absorb the closing costs. So.
Okay.
And another point to that, we allowed them to, as part of their deal, to there's some property that
Take a propane heater out of there and
I think it's,
some
Is it
other
in-
little
yeah, it's
pictures.
on the back page.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a water heater, hanging furnace, overhead door, and 2 man doors, and miscellaneous wiring, electrical, and exit signs. That's just less we have to throw
Pay
in
to
the dump.
scrap.
So they're gonna take that out of there and somebody will use it and have it and
Whatever
instead
they
of
wanna do.
junk it.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, we weren't going to use it. It was going to go in the trash. So
Ew,
that was part of the deal.
okay. Sounds good.
That's all I have.
Okay. City administration update. That would be Mr. Fisher.
Yeah, the mayor, he couldn't be here, but he gave me a few things to share. One is the 2026 budget for the city will be voted on by the council next Monday. There's a developer presentation that's going to happen on the 7173 South Broadway, which is formerly known as the Fireworks Building. The First Farmers Bank building, there's discussions right now, we've kind of accepted the proposal as far as what's going to go in there. And now we're working with the developer on approving the financials. Dickey's Express Car Wash is going to open in December. Oakdale Flats will start construction in January. And then the splash pad tentative closing is October 6th, next Monday. And that's all he had to share.
You said splash pad closing?
Well,
For
for
the
the
winter.
season.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
No.
sorry, I was like,
Yeah.
I got what you're saying.
Finished it, it's good, shut down.
Thank you. Oh, yes. Our city attorney.
So, had a number of little things come up.
Well, tell us about all of them.
No, I don't think, not a public meeting.
No.
But, dealt with a couple things, easement issue, potentially not, who knows? He sent another email. No. So, working, to try to get through that. Friday night, Jamin had a pointless meeting, regarding phase 2 of the 3M DuPont's lawsuit. I mean, they wanted to set a Zoom call with us regarding that. Essentially, it could have been handled in an email. It was a waste of time. But we may qualify for some funds there. Peru Water, even though we don't have PFAS in the system, that phase 2 fund is for future expense potentially. So who knows? See where that goes. Did I cover that one right?
Okay, thank you. Now we have the manager's report.
Thank you. Our 69 kV line maintenance should be getting soon. It was supposed to begin this week, but they had a delay on that. Just thought I'd give you an update of kind of where that's going to be. If you look at, here's sub 1 up here. So we've got Progress Rail down here and Array's Electronite here. So we're going to either begin or end here. And it's going to come down all the way this way and end over here, or start here, near Redmond's and Denver Pike. So you'll see the contractor out there and our guys in and out of there as well. So if you get phone calls and there's a contractor blocking the road, well, they're picking up some heavy duty poles and transferring conductor. And so, Mike, how long do you think it'll take?
4 to 6 weeks. All said and done.
Okay, 4 to 6 weeks.
So, just in case you guys hear about anything, this was, what day was this? Friday. That's right, Friday.
We're just starting our meeting.
Yeah, because we were in our meeting and Lee came in and said, hey, I gotta take boys to the hospital. So this was Matador and Foreman, or out of Grissom. Our vehicle was traveling south, obviously, because it got hit on the passenger side, but our vehicle was traveling south, and the vehicle ran the stop sign. There were no skid marks or anything. Straight ran the stop sign and T-boned our vehicle. All the airbags went off. We believe it's total. We haven't got that back from the insurance yet. But as far as our employees, they're both okay, sore. I believe one of them had cracked or bruised rib. So he's on light duty. He was already on light duty, so he's extra light duty now. Because breathing hurts and laughing hurts. So, but they're okay. And it wasn't their fault. So, just in case you hear, that was our truck. And more than likely, along these lines, we're gonna have to replace this truck. It's one we use a lot. It's 10 years old. It was slated for replacement in this 27, 28 time frame. Well, I mean, now it's slated for replacement as soon as we can. So we're gonna try to secure something local. and not order it, so we have something quickly. That may happen pretty fast, so we may allow a deposit for a vehicle, a local vehicle, if they have something in stock or they can get something quickly before the next meeting. Once we find out that this is completely totaled, and then we'll ask for your approval at that time for the full purchase of the vehicle. But we will probably use funds to pay a deposit to make sure that they keep that vehicle when we find it. So
Is that owner-driver insured?
don't know yet. We just got the police. I think we just got the police report.
It appears they have insurance.
They do.
Also along those lines, since we're talking about insured vehicles and accidents, I don't have pictures of this, but over the weekend we had a farmer. We can't identify the farmer because they took off. Probably didn't even know it. But as large as that equipment is, pull down a line, crack a pole, and our lineman immediately went out to, because he didn't even get a phone call. Our on-call lineman, he got the alert on his tablet, and he went out to assess the situation because there was an outage, and by that time the motorcycle had been driving through and somehow contacted it. He didn't get hurt from electricity, but somehow contacted it on the side of the road or in the road, the line that was down, and so we've referred him to our insurance on that. He wasn't hurt, and we don't even know the extent of the vehicle, the motorcycle damage.
So we haven't got that information.
We haven't got any of that information yet. We're still where the DNR is the one that went to that for some reason, so it's more difficult to get the DNR police report than it is to get a normal police report. So we're working through that. We don't feel we're responsible for that. It was something in the road, that something that someone else did, something else happened, but we're gonna work through that as well.
That's where the outage was in the south then?
No, that was different.
That was a different outage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our Encode update, Michelle and her crew, and Matt, met with Encode yesterday because we sent Encode an email saying you're no longer going to get any payment from us until we get these issues resolved. And then all of a sudden, ironically, hey, we should probably meet this afternoon, one of those deals. So they're still working through that. We gave them a list of things they had to get done before they get paid for this new system. Did you have any comments from that meeting?
They seem to be working on stuff. A few of the things were resolved yesterday while we were in the meeting. They're still working on a few things. They have to go to development and stuff for some of it. So they're supposed to get back with this as soon as possible.
Just an interesting article. I think we all know how the news is and how people report things. Did I miss yours?
I handed
No.
it over.
Just Alice. So when you see stuff like this, and then they reference CAC, Citizens Action Coalition, it's just pretty interesting type of news that's out there. Indiana governor seeks lower utility rates, and we can't take it anymore. But the Indiana governor specifically picked out NIPSCO, Duke Energy, CenterPoint, AEP, AES, and not municipal power, because the governor's smart and realizes that usually municipal power is cheaper than all of these IOUs. And there's we always talk about the percentages of being higher. They're in there too. I just thought it was an interesting article because you see on the back it talks about regulatory obstacles, which is huge, that NIPSCO's complaining about. It talks about NIPSCO saying that they're going to basically have a generation company that they're going to spin off from NIPSCO for data centers and things like that. And then we talked about before cost recovery within all this, and how they're going to recover the costs of spinning it off and building their own generation is the ratepayers that they just spun off from. So that's really part of the problem and part of the complaint, and I totally agree that the customers have to absorb these large loads, these large industrial and loads, and then everybody having the pipe dream, the pie in the sky data center in the community, which may not be, maybe more of a curse than it would be a gift, but it's important that you guys kind of see where we're at on that and where the industry's going, the utility industry's going, the electric industry. And for the record, like I always try to do, NIPSCO is $200 for a residential 1,000 kilowatts. $200, 60% higher than that. 62% higher than Peru utilities. And even in here, they're talking about another 16%. I think it says. A 6 and a 12, I think. I don't know how to memorize the article, but. And so along those lines, Mike actually forwarded me this right before we got here, and I thought it was a pretty good, what public power needs to know about serving data centers, because there's always the rumor. So if anybody wants a copy of this, I'll print you a copy of this. It's really interesting about how what communities are doing to serve the data centers, and what they're actually doing to communities, and how RTOs are trying to save the communities by putting policies in, how the data center or the large industrial customer pays the utility, and how cost recovery goes. Cost recovery is starting to be huge, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes in the future. But one of the things is they forecast that U.S. data centers will use 606 terawatt hours of electricity and account for more than 80 gigawatts of demand, and represent over 11% of electric demand in the United States. 11%. The electric 4,000 billion with a B kilowatt hours is what the electric. So 4,000 terawatt hours is what the United States uses. And they're talking 11% of adding 11% to that 4,000 terawatt hours. We don't have that in the system, obviously, so it's about building generation and things like that. But this is really interesting. I'd be happy to print. I just didn't want to print a bunch of copies if you didn't want them. Happy to print you a copy if you want to read through it. And more interesting, the communities that have actually done it and what they've done to. Not that we're looking at any data centers. We need to be clear there. But these has trickle down repercussions for even municipalities, even for MISO, for IMPA, for Peru, because somebody has to pay for the JTS improvements. And these companies aren't paying for the JTS improvements. They're recovered in the rate. So the joint transmission system they have to elevate, they have to harden, they have to widen, they have more capacity, they have to larger conductor. So that's a problem with in this article. That's really what they're saying is our customers, even though we're not going to have a data center and we're not going to harden the infrastructure like that. We don't need huge steel poles, and we do need some steel poles, but you know what I mean. So that's kind of the trickle down thing. That's where that's coming, and that's where a lot of this, especially for the NIPSCO, the Duke customers, that's where they're mad, because they're paying for all these improvements for 11% of an increase of our system that only impacts a small amount of
That's going to affect our bottom line then, right?
In the long run, that has the potential to do so, yes. Right now, no, because that's, we talk about IMPA, I talk about them all the time, and what they actually do offer us is they give us some protection with that. They have large load customer contracts, they have the legal representation, they have the state representation. So if someone were to come in here and say, hey, we want to do this, and the county or the city were to give them a permit for it, we would have no choice but to serve them to the best of our ability. But we would also have no choice but to protect ourselves on any large load customer. There's some good ideas in here. I think you guys should read it.
Is that accessible online, or was it?
I can email it to you. It's a PDF. You want to email? I'll just email it.
I looked, I didn't see it on right. Okay.
I don't know if you've seen this just in the last 2 weeks. Google was putting in a data center down in southeast.
Allen County.
And they pulled it because probably they knew it was gonna get voted down as far as the rezoning.
Yeah.
But Martinsville just approved rezoning for a data center down there, about 500 acres. So
Yeah.
there's one coming in there sometime.
Yeah, and New Carlisle, huge Amazon. Was it Google too? I think they have a couple.
And they're already Amazon there, and they're going to have another one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just
I had heard that some of these data centers are looking to put in like their own mini reactors to
they are,
energize them.
but they're not industrial. They're not commercial yet. They're not commercially active. SMRs are going to work eventually, but they're not. They're not viable at this point. But they're starting. Google's attempting to start a nuke up that has been idle for a while. I think it's Google. They're starting to look at putting in gas generation on their campuses. I mean, I think the only good thing that's going to come of all these data centers in the long run is that now we have private money, lots of private money sitting there investing in technology for generation, for their own personal need that they're going to be able to sell. And so there's going to be some good come of that. Now, whether we can afford it in the long run, who knows, but.
You talked about this sometime, no, not that long ago, within the last 6 months, I think, that we would be enveloped by, and there's nothing we could do about it, you know. If it comes, and then we're small enough that we get run over and eaten up and everything.
I guess that's a potential forever, but yeah.
How do you feel about it personally?
Data center?
Should I separate that from professionally?
No. I mean,
Okay.
I think there's good and bad. I think, and if you read through that, they have a lot of pros and cons in there about that. I think there's good and bad. I think the bad is absolutely they consume resources, and they can completely limit any development within your community because they take it all. They take all your water, they take all the excess power on the grid, all the excess capacity on the grid, and then you're locked. Your community is absolutely locked unless you spend a ton of money trying to bring more resources in. They are good, however, for water. You know, your water utility is going to have a huge customer, but they're going to have a huge investment, and that customer goes away, and you can bankrupt the utility. You know, on the power customer, you're going to have a huge customer, but again, you're going to have a huge investment into that because you're going to share some of it. They're not going to pay for it all, but they could go away.
So that's how the ones and zeros take over the human race. They utilize all of our resources.
Right. I mean, seriously. I mean, what are they up to? 5 million gallons a day? Some of these data centers of
Just
water,
for cooling?
Just for cooling. 5 million gallons a day.
So for
And that's not
perspective-
even including all the pollution and stuff that happens because of that.
Yeah.
For perspective, all of Peru uses 1.5.
Yeah. All of Peru.
And we have maybe capacity for 3 million short term with what we have. We could run 3 MGD, probably not for very long. It wouldn't be a long-term solution.
But I guess
So-
sorry.
So there'd be another water plant.
So for a data center, I guess would it have to be treated water though, potable water, or just filtered?
It would have to be filtered because it need to be clean because of the
Yeah.
evaporation and stuff. But I don't know about the having to be potable water.
Right, is E. coli on it?
But there's not a place around here that they could put their own wells big enough to be able to do that. It'd have to be right over the aquifer, and then we get into you're taking
Farm water.
a lot of water out of our aquifer. While it may not have a short-term impact, what long-term impact does that have? So to answer your question, it's good and bad, and I'm on the fence as far as if they came in here, whether I would be happy or sad. You know what I mean? Like, money's good because we could spread that out to all of our ratepayers. I mean, but the second that went away would be a huge shock to our ratepayers as well. So, and then there's no development. How are we building houses? How are we getting jobs and employment in the community? I mean, it would be scary.
I think as a whole, the country's gonna continue to see more and more data centers go up because we're using more and more data storage and.
So we would have to find a way, and this is, I have 99.999% sure that that's not, it's not in the cards for us, just simply because of where we're at on the system, the JTS, okay? But if that were to happen, we would have to make sure that the community still had, and the county still had an avenue for growth.
Yeah, but what about, would it be possible for them to come in and dry up the Taze River that runs underground?
And it's pretty big down there, but we would definitely have a study on it. But I mean, like I said, there's like a 0.00001% that's, I mean, I can't say that, I mean, we've been asked, we've had people approach us, we've had developers approach us on more than one property in our system, but you know, those are all, they're asking everybody. You know, I think IPA gets asked once a day from a different developer about what there is in the system. And, you know, when it's that big, we refer them to Duke and IMPA, and so that, because they know what the resources are in the JTS. So it's just one of those things. That, yeah. So
How much power do they use in a day? Like the average size one?
well, we've had an inquiry of 1 gigawatt. 1 gigawatt load.
Which our total load is what?
1,000 megawatt. Our total load, we peak it. Where we hit 55 this year. Yeah. 55 megawatts. So
Layman's terms.
one
Megawatts.
55 megawatts, 1
He's
gigawatt.
talking about gigawatts.
200 times more power just for that.
Yeah.
So our system would be 1 gigawatt and 55 megawatts.
A lot of
Yeah.
zeros.
0.05.
200 times the power we consume right now.
Which, I mean, in the area, there's not even remotely that much extra capacity sitting there. So that's where they're running. That's why they keep asking all of these utilities. Well, you're near a high line. You're near a 69 line. You need to, and we need more than a 69. What 230, I think, is what we kind of figured at 1 gigawatt. So
230 watt.
Kilowatt line instead of a 69. So
How big's that
Be a
one?
lot of infrastructure change.
the one going across 31 there,
New one they
I think it's
built.
230. Is that 230? I think that's.
The new one in the south end of the county,
Yeah.
that one's 765.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah.
The smaller one with the crissy crossy.
The lattice towers are 230.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Why do they need both of those projects were about 500 acres. Why do they need so much?
Well, there are multiple buildings.
Yeah.
And they have huge campuses. So they don't want to put them all in one building. It's a cooling issue, I believe. So they have multiple buildings and they're spread out quite a bit.
Probably a lot of radiation.
I don't know.
not overly dangerous, but
Not anymore.
not
So
the kind that'll
sure.
hurt you.
But that's all I have, Mary.
Does anyone else have anything to say? Oh, I'm going to be a great grandmother.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
First time?
Be great, yes.
You've always been
Last
great.
time she was mediocre.
Walked into that. Okay, let's have a motion to adjourn.
Make
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor? It's unanimous.